Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video we are looking at the DraftKings Fanduel and Prizepicks plays for Sunday, August 21st. We have an 8-game baseball slate on DraftKings. We have a 9-gamer on Fanduel. Let's go ahead and get started. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it for the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the other links down below in the description, and let's get started. So, for a Sunday slate, only having 8 games on the main slate, and it's looking like only a couple teams, at least on DraftKings, look like viable stacking options. We have a lot of good pitchers going at it. So, first game up we have is Mike Minor against Zach Thompson. You have two pretty bad offenses. Brian Reynolds been like the only guy keeping the Pirates afloat this season offensively. Everybody else been having awful seasons. But I don't mind him as a one-off play against a lefty and Minor. And then on the other side, don't have much interest at all in this Reds team. Just been fading them. You can consider Mike Moustakas if you needed a really cheap guy at 2K flat, but otherwise just don't have much interest in them. Second game, I like the Phillies a lot today. And the Mets have been having their way against them this series, but today you have Gibson, who's been okay for the Phillies. He's been their third best pitcher this season. He did have a great start last time out, but going up against Jose Butto, who's making his MLB debut, had a 4 ERA in AA. He did have good strikeout stuff, but he wasn't even pitching in AAA. He got called up to make this spot start. So Phillies, this is their chance to get the win. Actually, at least get one win in the series. Going up against him, and wind blowing out at home in Citizens Bank Park should be a spot where Kyle Schwarber might be able to get a hold of one. Could have do a home run parlay between Schwarber, Hoskins, Real Muto, somebody else. But like Castellanos' price tag, Bryson Stott's been great since the All-Star break in terms of just making contact. He's not been striking out much. He's just been getting unlucky earlier in the season. That's why his batting average was under 200 for most of the season, but the recent play has got it up to 222. Next game up, we have the Astros against the Braves. Just been, steady dose of good quality pitching matchups throughout the series. Now you got Morton against Urquidy. Two average pitchers. Morton's been really good this season with strikeouts. Astros don't strike out too much, but in general don't have much interest in the Astros side. And then the Braves side, the pricing isn't great except for maybe the bottom of the order with Rosario and Grissom, the second baseman, is $2,100, so he could be a value option today, but don't have much interest in the Braves stack against Urquidy. Then we got Cortez against Manoah. Yankees been, I don't know what's happening with the Yankees over the last 4 weeks or so. They just continue to lose games, playing really bad. Giancarlo Stanton is missed in this lineup, but everybody else has not been hitting. Judge has cooled off considerably. Rizzo's been bad over the last few weeks, so Yankees been a fade. And then today, don't have much interest in the Blue Jays against Cortez. We have the Angels against the Tigers. Ohtani looks like the best pitching option today against this awful Tigers lineup. And then they got Rodriguez making his return. He's only $600, but he should be limited today. So don't have much interest in him as a pitching option. On the Angels side, you're looking at Fletcher at 32, batting leadoff. Looks okay. But it's basically him or Trout. Ohtani's pitching today, so you're not going to get his hitting stats, so can't really look at an Angel stack too much. The Rays against Zach Greinke look like a spot where we can look to. Harold Ramirez has been great recently. Got some good price tags on him. David Peralta, Ji-Man Choi. Those would be 3 value options. It's definitely a slate where we're looking to pay up at pitching. We have Joe Ryan, who looks like a value at $7,400 if you wanted to go down, going up against the Rangers. They do have a lot of lefties in here. Ryan has strikeout stuff is a lot lower against lefties, so that is somewhat concerning, but just don't have too much guys that you're worried about. Besides like Simeon and Seager and Lau and Garcia, the top 4, the bottom 5 through 9, you don't have much to worry about in terms of guys that you're afraid of. And then the final game, Twins also look like a good stack behind the Phillies on DraftKings. And then the final game, wind blowing in Wrigley Field, should be a low-scoring game. You can hammer the under here if you wanted to. Definitely a nerfy spot on sportsbooks, not on Prizepicks today. They haven't posted this one, but definitely love Brendan Woodruff to pair with Ohtani, or you can use Woodruff as your SP1. Today we have enough values. I'm looking to pay up for both of the studs. Ohtani and Woodruff both get great matchups, especially with the wind blowing in at Wrigley Field. Should be a good spot for Woodruff to cruise through this Cubs lineup. Starting off at second base, going with a Twins guy, and this has been leadoff hitter for them for most of the season. Luis Arraez been playing great for them. Don't want to use him at first base, rather get to a power guy there. But at second base, we can definitely look to get to him sub $4,000. Over his last 10 games, batting over 400, OPS over 1,000, slugging is high for him at 571, 5 extra base hits in his last 10, and not a strikeout guy. Only 34 strikeouts and almost 400 at-bats, which is crazy. More walks than strikeouts this season. He's just a perfect guy for a leadoff. He's perfect for any team to be in a leadoff spot. Over at shortstop, throwing a Philly guy here, Bryson Stott at $3,600. Super cheap for a shortstop option. He's been up and fluctuating the lineup today against a righty. We could see him bat a little bit higher, but he's been great recently. Last 10, 351, 459 slugging, 7 home runs on the season. At home, he's batting a lot better, 262 compared to 186, and it's a good spot against a guy making his debut, so I like him as a cheap shortstop. And then in the outfield, Castellanos starting to turn it around a bit. For the Phillies, he's only $4K. It's a big price difference between Schwarber and Castellanos, almost $2,000 on DraftKings, so for that reason, I go with Castellanos, who's 357 in his last 10 with a 500 slugging. Still not doing great numbers with the power, only 11 home runs, but he is rocking a solid 10 game hitting streak. So hopefully that can continue today, and I expect the Phillies to score some runs. Hopefully they can get some RBIs. And then the last guy is going to be Brian Reynolds as a one-off play from the Pirates. Don't have, like I said, the Phillies and Twins look like good stacks. Otherwise, looking at some one-off guys, and a guy like Reynolds been up. He's been awesome for the Pirates since the All-Star break's been great. He's had a couple of just monstrous games, a 37 fantasy point game recently at 21, and then earlier, like 2 months ago, he had like a 3 home run game. But in general, over his last 10, he has a 667 slugging. He's hitting everything hard. Mike Minor is not a good strikeout pitcher, and Reynolds, switch hitter, always has a platoon advantage. He's at home, where he's been fine this year, but I still like him as the only Pirate that you can look to, and he's pretty cheap at $4,100 for the upside that he gives you. So that's it for DraftKings. Look at Fanduel. So pretty similar on Fanduel. At your pitching option, you got Ohtani or Woodruff for me. It's only $1,000 more for Ohtani, so I stuck with him, but don't mind if you wanted to get to Woodruff either. Second baseman, still like Luis Arraez a lot. Lead off against a pitcher that he's going to be pitching a contact, and that's what Arraez is known for. Stott, they have him projected bat 8th, but we could see him bat a little bit higher against a righty. $2,600 for a shortstop with the upside that he can give you at times. Looks fine. He's been great. Top 10 shortstop easily since the All-Star break. Probably top 7 or top 5 in the National League at least. And then Schwarber and Reynolds. Schwarber's only 200 more than Castellanos, so I like Schwarber for the power that he gives you. And then Reynolds at 33 looks good. Just if you wanted to get to a piece of the Pirates. They do have an okay total today, just because there's not too many good teams on DraftKings, at least to stack. So finally, over on Prizepicks, we have some guys to look at as strikeout props. We got lots of good pitchers today, so I'm looking at a lot of pitching props. First one up in terms of strikeout is a 3.5 for Jakob Younis. Love the number at 3.5. It's super low, even though he is in core, so it's a little scary there. On the season, he has a 21% strikeout rate, which is very good for a guy that only has we only need 4 strikeouts out of him. If you look at this lineup, you do have a lot of strikeouts in the middle of the lineup, with the majority of the hitters. From 4 to 9, you have everybody but over 24% strikeout rate, and he's getting a pretty even mix between lefties and righties, and he has almost identical strikeout stuff. So for a guy that throughout his career with the Royals, and this year was a little bit injured for a part of the season, he's been hitting this number a lot of the time. So that's the strikeout prop, and then we're getting to go with a lot of fantasy scores. First one up is going to be Ohtani at over 45.5. Love him against the Tigers. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes the distance or goes 7 or 8 innings. Lots of strikeout opportunities here, and expect them to get the win as well. So hopefully he can get those 10 extra points with the quality start and the win. Another guy you like to get the win as well as the quality start is Luis Castillo. Has been great, very consistent throughout the season. The Mariners gave up a lot to get to him, and he hasn't disappointed so far in Seattle. And going up against Oakland in the Coliseum, potential to go very deep without giving up much damage and getting a lot of strikeouts as well. So those are like 3 of my favorite ones. We have Woodruff as well with over 40.5 fantasy with the wind blowing in Wrigley Field. Cubs strike out a lot. Woodruff has good strikeout stuff. And should be a low-scoring game. And he's going up against Steele, who's been okay for the Cubs at times. But if he is able to get the win, it should be even easier for him to hit the over today. And then the final one is going to be for me, Kyle Gibson at 24.5. This is a bit dependent on the Phillies getting the win today, I would say. But we still seen Gibson have some good starts this year. Last start he had 11 strikeouts. But in general, if they're going up against a guy making his debut for the Mets, a pitcher without any MLB experience, Philly's able to get to him, put up some runs. Gibson, playing with the cushion, can definitely work a little bit deeper and get the quality start, possibly the win. And 24.5 with the Phillies being favored today is definitely something I'd like. He's faced the Mets twice earlier in the season, basically the end of April and the beginning of May. He did get the win in the most recent start against the Mets, going 6 innings with 3 strikeouts, gave a couple earned runs, but that one he hit the over because they got the win and he got the quality start. And then the first time he faced the Mets, he only went 4 1/3, but he missed that one by just a couple points, at least the 24.5. And then at the end of last year, he hit them with the 9 strikeout game. So far in the Phillies uniform, he's hit this number 3 out of 4 times that he's faced the Mets, over 23.5 fantasy. The one time he missed it was earlier this year. But otherwise, he's gone at least 6 innings in 3 out of the 4 starts, gotten you okay strikeout stuff, with not great, but in general, he's not limited the damage. He hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs in any of them. And he's gotten the win in 2 of them, as well as a quality start in 3 of the starts, 3 of the 4 starts. So, like Kyle Gibson, at least get me 25 fantasy points today if the Phillies are able to get the win. But in general, that's what I got for you guys today. Over 3.5 Ks, Jakob Yunis, and then over fantasy on Otani, Castillo, Woodruff, and over fantasy as well on Gibson. Best of luck today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.